Welcome back, everybody. These are the best films of 1960. These are all the classics, the horror, the drama, the crime, the romance, the comedy, the films that came out in the year 1960. Let's check out all the hits and misses that came out that year. Let's check out 1960. Wild for Kicks. An impetuous teenage girl becomes involved with Soho's beatnik and striptease scenes despite her Stead architect father and her French ex-stripper mother. Drama. Wild for Kicks. Because They're Young. A new high school teacher tries to help troubled students and falls in love with the principal's secretary. Because They're Young. Drama. Next up we have is Bells Are Ringing. Comedy, musical, and romance. A Brooklyn answering service operator becomes involved in the lives of her clients, including a struggling playwright with whom she begins to fall in love. Bells Are Ringing. The Boy and the Pirates. A young boy is magically transported back in time to a pirate ship on the high seas. Action, adventure, and crime. The Boy and the Pirates. Butterfield 8. Drama and romance. A beautiful New York model and socialite enjoy a very active nightlife, but all things change when she falls for a married man and the consequences are tragic. The comedy classic Cinderfella. A gender-swapped retelling of Charles Perrault's classic, where Cinderfella is visited by a fairy godfather to help him escape from his wicked stepmother and stepbrothers. Elmer Gantry. A fast-talking traveling salesman with a charming, loquacious manner convinces a sincere evangelist that he can be an effective preacher for her cause. Elmer Gantry. Exodus. The State of Israel is created in 1948, resulting in war with its Arab neighbors. Exodus. Action, drama, and war. Next up we have is the classic horror and drama. Eyes Without a Face. A surgeon causes an accident, which leaves his daughter disfigured and goes to extreme lengths to give her a new face. Eyes Without a Face. A face without a nose? Eyes without a face. The Facts of Life. Comedy, drama, and romance. Sophisticated comedy with Larry and Kitty leaving their spouses for an interlude together. The Facts of Life with Bob Hope and Lucille Ball. Flaming Star. When fighting breaks out between two cultures in West Texas, the mixed blood pacer tries to act as a peacemaker, but the Flaming Star of Death pulls him irrevocably into deadly violence. Flaming Star. The Fugitive Kind. Valentine Snakeskin Javier, a troubled pro-drifter trying to go straight, wanders into a small Mississippi town looking for trouble. The Fugitive Kind. G.I. Blues. Comedy and musical. Tulsa McLean, a soldier with dreams of running his own nightclub, places a bet with his friend Dynamite that he can win the heart of an untouchable dancer. G.I. Blues. The Gallant Hours. A semi-documentary dramatization of 5 weeks in the life of Vice Admiral William Halsey, from his assignment to command the U.S. naval operations in the South Pacific. The Gallant Hours. Inherit the Wind. Based on real-life cases in 1925, two great lawyers argue the case for and against a Tennessee science teacher accused of the crime of teaching Darwin's theory. Inherit the Wind. It started in Naples. Days before his wedding, a Philadelphia lawyer travels to Naples in southern Italy to settle the estate of his late brother. It started in Naples. Comedy and drama. The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Henry Jekyll experiments with scientific means of revealing the hidden dark side of man and releases a murderer from within himself. La Dolce Vita. A series of stories following a week in the life of philandering tabloid journalist living in Rome. La Dolce Vita. Comedy and drama. Love and the French Woman. Comedy. The 7 Stages of Women, 7 stories about French women and love in the 60s. Love and the French Woman. Alright, The Little Shop of Horrors. A clumsy young man working at an impoverished flower shop discovers that the strange plant he has been nurturing has an insatiable appetite for blood. Little Shop of Horrors. Man on a String. A U.S. secret agent is sent to Berlin to pretend to be a spy for the USSR. Action, crime, drama, and thriller. Next up we have is the classic Midnight Lace. Crime, mystery, and thriller. In London, a recently wed American woman's sanity comes into question after she claims to be the victim of a threatening stalker. Midnight Lace. Moon Pilot. Away on a short leave before an upcoming moon launch, a NASA astronaut disappears and is feared kidnapped when the security services learn about his friendship with a suspected foreign female spy. Moon Pilot. Walt Disney. Never on Sunday. An American scholar in Greece sets about improving the prostitute with whom he is infatuated. So he's trying to improve a prostitute slut. A tramp. Comedy, drama, and romance. Never Let Go. A cosmetic salesman sets out to prove to himself and his wife that he is not a failure. Crime, drama, and thriller. Never Let Go. North to Alaska. Feel-good romance. During the Alaska Gold Rush, prospector George sends partner Sam to Seattle to bring his fiancée, but in turn, it turns out she married another man. North to Alaska with John Wayne and Stuart Granger. Ocean's 11. Danny Ocean gathers a group of his World War II buddies to pull off the ultimate Las Vegas heist. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and Angie Dickinson. Pay or Die. Between 1906 and 1909, NYPD Lieutenant Petrosino heads the Italian squad and tries to stamp out organized crime. Pay or Die. Peeping Tom. A young man murders women, using a movie camera to film their dying expressions of terror. Slasher, horror, drama, horror, thriller. Peeping Tom. Pepe, comedy and musical. The young Mexican Pepe's beloved horse is sold to Hollywood director Ted Holt, leading to Pepe's journey to Hollywood to get the horse back. Pepe, featuring the legendary Cantinflas. Platinum High School. At an exclusive military academy on Sabre Island, rich young delinquents think money puts them above the law. Platinum High School, exposing the truth. Mickey Rooney. We love Mickey Rooney. Please Don't Eat the Daisies. Comedy, family, and romance. Drama professor turned theatric critic balances his home life and career when he moves to the country with his wife and their 4 sons, Doris Day and David Niven. Portrait in Black. After repressed wealthy Sheila Cabot and her physician lover, Dr. Rivera, murder her cruel and villain husband, Matthew, they are targeted by someone who is aware of their crime. The Time Machine, a scary movie. A man's vision for a utopian society is disillusioned when traveling forward into time reveals a dark and dangerous society. The Time Machine. This movie is awesome, featuring Rod Taylor. The Beatniks. A young singer's chance at fame is threatened by his hoodlum pals. The Beatniks. Crime and musical. Next up we have is the classic comedy, crime, and drama, The Law. Illicit passions pervade an Italian town where men gather nightly for their cynical game of the law. Next up we have is the classic drama and romance, Strangers When We Meet. A suburban architect loves his wife, but is bored with his marriage and with his work, so he takes up with the neglected married beauty who lives down the street. Strangers When We Meet. 10 Who Dared. Major John Wesley Powell leads an expedition through the Grand Canyon to chart the Colorado River. Adventure, family, and western. One of the greatest horror films of all time, Psycho. A secretary on the run for embezzlement takes refuge at a secluded California motel, owned by a repressed man and his overbearing mother. Psycho. Psychological horror and thriller. Purple Noon. Tom Ripley is a talented mimic, moocher, forger, and all-around criminal improviser, but there's more to Tom Ripley than he can ever guess. Featuring Alain Delon and Maurice Ronet. Seven Thieves. A motley crew of professional thieves plans the robbery of Monte Carlo Casino Vault. Edward G. Robinson, Rod Steiger, and Joan Collins. Sink the Bismarck. The World War II story of the Royal Navy's effort to defeat Nazi Germany's most powerful warship. Kenneth More, Dana Winter, and Carl Moner. Sink the Bismarck. Sons and Lovers. A young man with artistic talent lives in a close-knit coal mining town and finds himself inhabited by his emotionally manipulative mother. Trevor Howard and Dean Stockwell, Sons and Lovers. Spartacus. The slave Spartacus survives brutal training as a gladiator and leads a violent revolt against the decadent Roman Republic. Featuring Kirk Douglas and Laurence Olivier. Spartacus. Stowaway in the Sky. A young boy sneaks onto his grandfather's hot air balloon and together they travel over France. Stowaway in the Sky, Adventure and Family. Swiss Family Robinson. A Swiss family must survive being shipwrecked on a deserted island. Survival, adventure, and family. Swiss Family Robinson. The Bellboy. Mute bellboy Stanley works at the luxurious Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach. In spite of being a serviceable and friendly employee, the clumsy Stanley gets successfully into trouble with his mistakes. The Bellboy. The Story of Ruth. Inspired by the scriptural tale, Moabitese priestess Ruth is drawn both to Judean man and to talk of a forgiving God. The Story of Ruth. The wackiest ship in the Army. During World War II, Lieutenant Rip Crandall, who was a yachtsman before the war, takes command of the USS Echo, a sailing ship for a secret mission in Japanese wartime. One of my favorite movies, The World of Suzy Wong. A businessman moves to Hong Kong to pursue a career as an artist and falls in love with a prostitute he hires as a model. William Holden and Nancy Kwan. No talk, no talk. The Alamo. In 1836, a small band of soldiers sacrificed their lives in hopeless combat against a massive army in order to prevent a tyrant from smashing the New Republic, Texas. The Alamo. The Apartment. A Manhattan insurance clerk tries to rise in his company by letting his executives use his apartment for trysts, but office politics and his own romantic hopes complicate matters. The Apartment. Mania. Professor Breck finds out his wife Lisa is having an affair with his twin brother Giordano. His brother disappears in mysterious circumstances, and he takes his place. Mania. The Grass is Greener. Victor and Hillary have guided tours in their English mansion. A U.S. oil tycoon bumps into Hillary during a tour and charms his way into her heart. The Grass is Greener. Cary Grant, Deborah Kerr, and Robert Mitchum. The Magnificent Seven. 7 gunfighters are hired by Mexican peasants to liberate their village from oppressive bandits. Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, Eli Wallach, and Horst Bullock. The Millionaires. A millionaires and a doctor cannot marry until they meet conditions set up by their respective parents. Sophia Loren and Peter Sellers. The Millionaires. The Sundowners. In Australia's outback during the early 20th century, the impoverished Camardi family lives a nomadic life out of their wagon. The Sundowners. Deborah Kerr and Robert Mitchum. The Brides of Dracula. Vampire hunter Dr. Van Helsing returns to Transylvania to destroy handsome bloodsucker Baron Meinster, who has designs on a beautiful young schoolteacher. Brides of Dracula. The Leech Woman. An endocrinologist is dysfunctional marriage with an aging alcoholic wife's journey to Africa, seeking a drug that will restore youth. The Leech Woman. Shoot the piano player. A pianist helps his brother escape from two gangsters who retaliate by abducting their kid brother. Charles Aznavour. Shoot the piano player. Tunes of Glory. After World War II, a Highland Regiment's acting commanding officer who rose from the ranks is replaced by a peacetime Oxford-educated commanding officer, leading to a dramatic conflict between the two. Alec Guinness and John Mills. Two-way stretch. While in prison, Dodger plots the perfect heist. Break out, steal diamonds, get back before noticed. Slapstick comedy and crime featuring Peter Sellers. Two-way stretch. Two women. In World War II Italy, a widow and her lonely daughter seek distance between themselves and the horrors of war. Sophia Loren and Jean-Paul Belmondo and Ralph Ballone. The Unforgiven. The neighbors of a frontier family turn on them when it's suspected that their adoptive daughter was stolen from the local Kiowa tribe. Burt Lancaster and Audrey Hepburn. The Unforgiven. Wake Me When It's Over. Gus Brubaker has been drafted again. Due to a clerical error, Gus finds himself deployed to a little Japanese island where everyone is bored to death. Wake Me When It's Over. Featuring Ernie Kovacs. Who Was That Lady? Ill-advised by his pal Mike Haney, chem teacher David Wilson falsely claims to be an undercover FBI agent to hide his infidelity. Who Was That Lady? Tony Curtis and Dean Martin. Those were the best films. All the films that came out in 1960. Obviously, there were some duds, some great comedy gems, some horror films, drama, romance, some war, adventure, thrillers, horror, sci-fi. 1960 and the 60s had it all. What were your favorite movies that came out in 1960? Out of this list that I compiled, do you remember any of these films? If so, let me know in the comments below. Alright, those were the best films that were released in 1960. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. Thanks for watching Yesteryear TV. I'll see you all in the next video.